Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Big T Anderson. This is Down Below by Symbiotic Toxin. I'm still alive! For those who don't know, Portland is going through some issues. I went to the August 4th protest, which I'm sure my neurologist will be so glad to hear. After I get my backside chewed out for that one, because I will get a lot of chewings out for that. It was an interesting thing. I'm glad I went. I didn't support either side. I just kind of went to see what everybody's opinion was. I've learned a few things, which I think we can take into projects in the future. But, yeah. Anyway, this is Down Below by Symbiotic Toxin. For those who are new here are the rules. Art's not mine. Fanfiction's not mine. Links down below. Credits about. You know what to do. Go to these places. Give happiness. It's free. Just go, hey, I like this. Click, 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 clack, 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 blah. Or, hey, this guy's reading fanfiction. I like that. There's some other stuff here, too. I may want to like that. Okay, and follow. That's all it takes. Pretty easy. Now, all in all, you could probably do it while I'm muttering about in this intro. But the intro is just about over. Let's begin. Drip. 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 Brown, filthy water fell from the top of the sewers, cavern-like tunnels. Each contact made with the waste-filled water below sent an echo through the silence. A faint sound of the polluted waters flowed towards the treatment plant, gave the dark, damp world below the surface a sort of comforting ambiance, at least for who or whatever deemed this world habitable. A mixture of smells lingered about, some from garbage that made its way down into the river of filth, others from waste of numerous origins. Combined into one scent, it was enough to knock anyone not prepared for it on their ass and gasping for the air above. The tunnels were nearly pitch black. Barely any light permeated its labyrinthine world. What little light there was down below came from the small amount that made its way through the manhole covers on the streets. Like the water, the walls were just as disgusting. What wasn't damp with moisture and growing moss was cracking and housing numerous insects that skittered and scattered about. Crunch, crunch, crunch! A new sound, one that would be foreign to this world below the clean streets of the surface, echoed louder than the falling of moisture in the sewers. Down here, in the sludge-ridden land of bugs and waste, was only one man who could stand the darkness. One man who could stand the noxious smell that burned his nostrils. One man that freely wallowed in the water, that didn't give much thought to the bugs crawling about his person. One man called this disgusting place home. Man was something he didn't get called often, or ever, actually. His appearance, his lifestyle, his jobs, all these things took what right to being a man. His body was a hulking mass of muscles, covered in scale-like deformities. From his beastly maw fluttered grunts and slurps as he devoured what appeared to be raw meat off the bone. Pieces of bone floated about as he engulfed the carcass more and more with each bite, his multitude of pointed teeth ripping into it as if it were tissue paper. He took special care to keep a strong hold of the meat with his monstrous hands, his claw-like nails, piercing it to keep it from falling into the filthy water. Half the meat was gone at this point. He would be satisfied for a long while, depending on how much energy he expended afterwards. Should all go well, he would only have to wander his maze of tunnels for a new place to sleep, to hoard and to hide. With one last crunch, he finished his meal, straightened himself out from his hunched, feral position. Because the sewers, as wide and as tall as they were, still could not allow the brute to stand to his full height. The water came up only an inch above his knees, and soaking the ragged pair of blue slacks he adorned himself with. They were his only memento from his attempt at a surface life. Slowly, he trudged through the water towards a new hovel. The slow walk gave the brute time to recollect. He wasn't one for sentimentality. nor did he have any fond memories. He found it good to try and remember things that angered him, because anger was his fuel, his fire, the thing that helped him make what he did just that effective. As terrifying as he looked, there was nothing more terrifying than having someone like him roaring at you or seething silently. So many people killed by his hand or teeth, and he wasn't even angry at them. A wealth of reasons to be angry was all he had to his name, and all he had to do was pick and choose a reason to make his blood boil, to make his job more effective. Sometimes he didn't even need anger to spice up his job. Sometimes all he needed was hunger. Moments of pure, blinding hunger came to mind. Moments of would-be gangsters, street thugs, people who weren't paying what they owe, all of them cowering as he lumbered over them with a crooked smile and a hunger in his eyes. Sometimes he simply bluffed to get his point across, while other times he got a free meal out of it. But those were the easy jobs, the ones where he didn't have to work too hard, or not at all, to get things done. Then came the hard ones, the ones that involved taking on the heroes or playing delivery man. Picking things and delivering was not his idea of a good job, as they usually entailed not drawing attention to himself. That was something he couldn't do, whether he liked it or not. But being paid to take on a hero, those were the challenges he lived for. Only one hero stayed on his mind, though, one that seemed to mock him every time he appeared. The brute stopped as he thought about him. He had traveled far down the catacombs of the sewers. His location was a mystery to him, but only for a moment. He knew these sewers well because the hero forced him down here so many times. His teeth clenched as he imagined his shadow appearing before him. Claws dug into his hands. He remembered every blow he took from this one costumed man. His nostrils flared as the image of his face came to mind. That masked face trying to capture the essence and terror of a bat, but only temporarily. He began to breathe heavily, his teeth clenched to the point where they might just shatter. He slammed his fist against the wall, just thinking of the mockery he faced whenever he appeared. This ordinary man, this normal, average, everyday man who had the stones to pretend to be this feared creature of the night, to strike terror by his looks alone, only to tear away his persona when it was convenient for him. "Hurry up, Frank, we ain't got all day." He looked forward. A sudden voice was coming from. "Relax, no one's gonna come down here looking for us. We gave the bat the slip." That one word echoed through his mind the instant it hit his ears. He stood there, motionless, silent as the grave. He didn't notice the light of a flashlight coming from up ahead. The sound of slushing water didn't alert him to the incoming visitors. All he thought was the bat. His blood began to boil, his pulse raced, his veins throbbed, his anger began to take hold. On instinct, he lowered himself into the putrid water, and like magic, his entire hulking frame was submerged and lost. "Shh! You hear that?" "Hear what? You're imagining things. Come on, let's go!" "No, man, I think I heard something up ahead. Maybe we should go the other way." "We can't go that way. The hideout's downtown, and that's in this direction. Now quit being a coward and hurry up." The man trudged along, leaving the panicking Frank to slowly tread behind, looking over his shoulder every few seconds. The overly stuffed backpack they carried slowed them down more than the water, and Frank, growing ever paranoid, stopped dead in his tracks. Shining his flashlight above and behind him. "Why'd you stop? Come on, we don't hurry, the bat will show up any second." And there was no warning. Only the sudden feeling of a mighty force pulling him under the water. Frank only caught the second after his partner was pulled under, turning only after hearing his shriek. He shined his light where he was standing, Red was now quickly meshing with the sickly green of the sewer water. Frank could not utter a sound, nor could he move. Fear had taken hold as he looked upon the spot where his partner used to stand. Only water and blood remained, and before Frank could make a move, the water began to bubble. A few feet from where he was, slowly the brute revealed himself. Frank could only shine his light on the beast's face as he emerged. His scleras were a sickly yellow, while his actual eyes were that of a reptilian sort. Blood dripped down from his chin, while also staining his teeth a dark red. By now the beast was fully emerged, looking down on the helpless Frank as he trembled before this hidden monster. Holy shit! You're Killer! His mouth was forcefully covered before he could finish. With a firm grip and claws digging into the soft flesh of his face, he plucked Frank from the filthy water, hoisted him till the top of his head touched the sewer ceiling. They looked at each other eye to eye, neither blinking nor looking away. You being followed? His voice was guttural and raspy. Frank nodded as best he could. By the cops? Frank did nothing for a moment, then shook his head in reply. By the bat? The name alone was enough to get his blood boiling again, and with a nod, Frank found now to be a good opportunity to try and communicate verbally as best he could. I promise, I won't tell them where you are, just please let me go. His words, muffled as they were, fell on deaf ears. With a crooked smile, Croc began to apply pressure to Frank's face. His muffled screams, his flailing limbs, they did him no service. Croc took his time, relishing the moment. I want him to know. I want him to come down here so I can tear the cowl off his face myself. I want to see him make the same look you have on right. A final squeeze, and the screaming stopped. Now, he let the lifeless corpse fall, the resulting splash echoing throughout the tunnels. Croc looked down the path the crooks came from. He knew it would only be a matter of time. He never let his quarry get away. Another facet of him playing at being a beast. Croc looked down. The corpse of Frank slowly sinking beneath the sewer water. A feeling of primal rage swelled up within him, released only by a roar that could shake the very earth with its volume and anger. And with that, the monster known as Killer Croc once more made his slow trudge through the polluted waters of the sewers below, waiting for the champion of the surface to come to his home and knock down the door. He would be waiting. A toothy grin spread across his disfigured face. This was just another job for him, but one he would take great pleasure in seeing through to the end. Alright, so that was Down Below by Symbiotic Toxin. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Sorry if tone got mixed up a little bit through. Had to wait a couple moments and continue. When you get interrupted in a project like this, it definitely you have to kind of reset. So I tried to re-listen. So if that's on me, call me out on it. I will fully take that. I try to do these in one shot all the way through. But in any case, I do hope you enjoyed it. Links down below to everything. Please give them some love. If you like how I'm doing it, please let me know here. Or if you don't like it, meh. If you thumbs up or thumbs down, it lets people know, hey, this is worth listening to. And last thing you can do, I think you've been on YouTube enough, but for those who are like, this is your first channel, thanks, first of all, for finding me. And subscribe. You don't actually have to do anything. It just lets you know, hey, when I drop a video, whether it be in my game videos, the fan fiction readings, which is the most I do right now, or one of my learning curves, or something else that trips my fancy, it'll be on and you'll be notified. So yeah, there you go. Toodles.